Greetings and salutations, and welcome to another Inventor video. Now this one's going to seem quite a bit out of place because it should have came before my first toolbar episode, but you know, this came as an afterthought, but it makes more sense to put it in because what's the point of showing you how to use stuff if you don't know where it actually exists. So if we start, we're going to be looking first. This is just the home screen. It's where pretty much every time you load it up, it's going to start here. Here's all your files that you've pretty much made. Mine's pretty varied, but yours will start off pretty empty if you haven't done anything. And here's what we have: the selection. We have parts, assemblies, drawings, and presentations. Parts are the base units, parts go into assemblies, and then you can take both parts and assemblies and put them into drawings, and engineering drawings, and they can be sent off to manufacture. You can also send off presentations, which can then basically explode, show how stuff is made, and separate it into its core components so you can actually show how it all fits together very nice with animations. So if we go into part, it should load reasonably quickly. Right, it's loading in all the parts and all any modules we have, and when it decides to do that, we start going. But you know, apparently the streaming software might be having it. Oh, we're in. Ish. Right. So, this is the part interface. Most interfaces are pretty similar, except drawing and presentation, but they're kind of separate. Right, so for parts, you got the first one, you'll start on the 3D model. This is pretty much where you spend most of your time. Most of your work really kind of comes within the makey parts. So, you'll start a 2D sketch, but you've also got primitives, which like preformed, so you don't have to do multiple things. You can literally just define 3 parts, 3 dimensions, it does it, revolves it, etc, etc. Holes, these are a bit more of your specialist or special features. They used to do your edges, holes, after features that you don't need the actual, you add to the raw geometry. Then you've got planes, axes, points, so these are when you want to define other stuff, so you can start working at different dimensions, so you can offset stuff. And then we start going into actual surfaces and patch workspace, if you have worked at 360, and actual forms where you can actually start moulding around it. You can also go into FEA and stress analysis, and then you've also got sheet metal, which is a whole different assembly environment, part and assembly environment. Then if we go into sketch, this is kind of what everything starts as, but you need to define. So if I click start, it'll want me to pick a plane up, but I can just ignore that for now. Annotate is pretty much, this can do all your drawings. So this can, if you want to send a part out as a 3D PDF, you can assign dimensions, surface text, leaders, notes, etc. so it looks a bit more professional. Inspect, pretty much all you'll use is measure. Zebra analysis, which is quite useful if you're looking at transitions between actual interfaces and how materials, so if you got, or I don't know, like a transferring from a horizontal surface to a vertical surface, that's a very sudden change, whereas if you use different fillets you get different continuity and you get G1, G2 fillets, that can all be inspected. Tools, you've still got material and appearances, application options, document settings allow you to edit your bomb structure, modeling, sketching, etc, and application options, that just gives you furthermore choice when it comes to drawing, and default settings, which you can tinker with when you need to. I also believe, yes, you can change your units in documents. Migration, so if you've worked on different computers you can change it. Manage, this is when you go into more parametric styles, recap, and you want to start working in iLogic and iPart, so you're using more code and Excel spreadsheets to create a more dynamic part. And as for view, this is kind of what I'll use quite a bit more, where I'll start going into object visibility so what you can see. Visual style is also quite important because if you have just shaded on, you can't see the edges, and a lot of what you'll do is working with edges. Shadows, reflections, and lighting, pretty much, I generally have them off just because it improves frame rate and performance, but you can have them on. I generally turn them on if I'm testing for rendering, etc. Environments. So these are all the different kind of like branches of Inventor you can go down. In the part size, you got stress analysis, studio for your renders, molds, BIM, sheet metal, and if you want to go into 3D printing, you can send it off as like an STL or a step file. Get started is pretty much just the home thing. Add-ins, so I've got screencast, which is what I use to record. Collaboration, and then you've got Cool Orange, which you won't have unless you download the thread modeler, which turns an actual, where is it, 3D model, which you can then use when you put a thread on something. It's actually just a picture of a thread, whereas Cool Orange actually converts it into an actual real physical thread. And that's parts pretty much over and done with. Assembly, there's a couple of special things. So you got Assemble, where you place your parts in. So this is place you can choose stuff from Content Center. So this is where you can find all your bolts, cable harness fasteners, so bolts, nuts, tubes, shafts, pretty much whatever. If it's got a standard like EN, BS, ISO, DIN. And then you got BOM, which is and also on the assembly you've also got BOM and parameter, so you can actually see what's in it. And you can derive, measure, and shrink wrap is there for basically protecting intellectual property and simplifying down. Design, we then move into more what's actually special to about it. So you got stuff like the frame generator, which is really cool because you can actually make frames on reference solid which don't affect the BOM but actually do make changes. 3D model, where you can actually add to it because sometimes you want to add a hole after the part because not all holes are slightly in the same position, and you've also got mirrors and all your actual replication of pattern functions. Sketch, you can pretty much do the same. Annotate, inspect, pretty much most of it is the same. Environment, you get a couple of special ones: cable and harness, tube, and weldments, and frame analysis, and dynamic simulation. Now, weldments are especially cool because it basically needs a bit of an update, but allows you to actually look at how the worlds, just to show more graphically how worlds will appear. Add-ins, collaborate, and electromechanical. So if you've got other things, you can add into it. Thirdly, we've got drawings. And this is just the standard drawing environment, so you just pick a base drawing. It's like a base. Let's find it. Oh, let's take. Oh, that's a 2020 file. My mistake. That's Neil's wonderful and horrible challenge this month. By horrible, I mean horribly difficult. Because it was extremely hard to do. And my computer even now is freaking out trying to render it, because if you look now, it looks like a big fat mess. Then you also can make other views off it, you can make side views, top views, etc, etc. And drawing's pretty much all about it. It's about drawing, annotating, and showing how stuff all fits together. So you've got balloons, so you can put in a parts list. You've also got text. You've also got symbols, so you can add to show where welds go, where surfaces are. And obviously then you still got sketch, vanish, view. And that's most of it. But for a beginner, most of your time will be spent in placing views, annotating and sketching. And last but not least, you've got presentation, but this is a whole different ballpark and will come in another video. Thanks for listening, I'll see you in the next episode.